Now Burrow going to launch downfield for Chase.
Going deep. Jamar Chase. He's got it.
Who's got it? Touchdown LSU.
Chase to the end zone. That's a Bengal touchdown.
Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? We are back with Bengals Talks. This is podcast number 2. And this week we will be going over Week 4 against the Jags, Thursday Night Football. I'm Aaron Schaus. This is Josh Miles, and we're going to kick it right off. I had a great idea for the start of this episode, and I wanted to take a look at right away is the Bengals' primetime record. Now, if we look here, okay, I looked this up just now. Josh can attest, but I looked it up, and you can't. I don't know why, but I can't find the Bengals' Sunday Night Football record. It only shows me Sundays, which is stupid. But on Thursday Night Football, the Bengals' record is 8-7, which isn't too bad, and it's a game over 500. However, Monday night's 12-25, which puts them at a primetime record of 12-32, barring Sunday Night Football. So a thought that I wanted to throw out there to start this episode is, if you take a look at some of those past teams on primetime, we're looking at quarterbacks like Carson Palmer, Andy Dalton, Marvin Lewis is our head coach. The way that I look at it right now, especially with this team, we are not very used to seeing much of a conservative play style. I mean, what I would say is look at Carson Palmer, look at Andy Dalton, and then look at Joe Burrow, and think about the way that they play. I felt like Andy Dalton was always holding something back as a quarterback. Carson Palmer kind of gets a pass because he was always hurt. But I feel like as good as we were in the Andy Dalton era, I always feel like Andy never hit his full ceiling or hit his full potential. He hit a ceiling, but I guess he just never hit his full potential. Meaning that I felt like every time Andy Dalton walked on the field, that the other team felt like they could have won the game. I don't know how Josh feels about that, but I feel like with Joe Burrow, I feel like with this team, I feel like with Zach Taylor's confidence, that there is just a different level of confidence and swag and everything with this team. And so I feel like we're really settling in on a new era. I could be speaking too soon. However, I'm very confident because I feel like we've been doing a solid job. Okay, so now that we started there, we're going to kick it right off into Week 4 against the Jags. We're going to start off with pre-game thoughts. I'm going to kick this off to Josh since I've been talking for a fat minute. So, Josh, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really excited about heading into this one. I think it's going to be a fun game. On both sides, you get to watch the number one picks on both ends of the spectrum face off against each other, and it's going to be an interesting matchup, especially seeing as how Trevor Lawrence has performed throughout the season. There's a lot of Jags fans who I think they probably wish they. Honestly, I think that there's probably, I don't want to speak for Jags fans because I'm not one, but if I were a Jags fan, I'd almost be like, man, I wish we had Gardner Minshew right now so that way we could allow Trevor to sit and learn for a second. Because if you look at how Trevor Lawrence is taking to the game right now, it definitely looks like it's a little bit fast for him. And he is going to hit that curve. But I think it's going to be an interesting game. We have a lot of starters who are going to be out for the game. It's a Thursday night game. It'll be interesting. The Bengals are 2-1. We really haven't, as a team, played as a winning team very much. And I feel as though every single time we win a game this season, we get really hyped up by the media. Where as soon as we win a game, every person wants to talk about, oh, like Jamar Chase is so good, and like Joe Burrow is the next best thing, and like yada yada yada. And all this is true, but I'm excited to see how the team deals with it. The Jags are 0-3, and they are really bad. They should be picking first overall next season. It's either them or Houston at this point, is what it should be. And I'm excited to see what the identity of this team is when they've had some of their leaders taken away. Like, who is going to step up? We'll get into that kind of later. But I think in some ways I'm a little bit nervous with the amount of starters that we're missing, the amount of starters that we really very well could be missing. So that is just a little nerve-wracking in some respects. But overall, I'm feeling pretty optimistic about it. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a fun game against the C.J. Henderson less secondary. He just got traded out of Jacksonville. So I think Joe Burrow is going to have a pretty good day. I think Joe Mixon is going to have a pretty good time. Outside of Josh Allen, I don't think that there's much identity in that Saxonville defense of old. So um, I think the Bengals will win. It might be closer than we'd like it to be as a result of the amount of people that we're missing, but I still think that the Bengals are going to pull it out.
All right, all right. So I'm gonna have to second you with that one. Bengals are only favored 7.5 for this game for basic reason though. If you look at the Jacksonville's last couple of games that they've scored in, I believe it was 19, 17, and 13. Was how many points they scored each game, and the Bengals went 27, 17 and 24. So if you like add that up, it's about 7.5 difference. So that's like the reason why they did that. If you want to look at stats specifically, for Jacksonville this year, points for they're 27th in the league. Points against they're 28. So they give up a lot of points, don't score a lot of points. As for the Bengals, 68 points for this season, 17th. So not too bad. Could be a lot better. I still think the offense is still kind of gaining their legs, especially from last year with how explosive the offense looked at times. Like Joe Burrow had plenty of opportunities to be able to throw for 300 yards. Um, and points against is sixth in the league, which is very solid. And what we see from that big time is only giving up 10 points against the Steelers and then 20 points against the Bears, which kind of sucked. But really, only like, what is it like? If you really want to put it down, the defense only really gave up like 16 points to the Bears or something like that. That's probably bad math, but I mean there was like the pick six, so I mean that's not really on the defense.
I would even put it down less than that. I think the defense inherited a lot of points off of interceptions that game and just turnovers by the offense. So I think that I
Yeah, sure, sure, I agree with you on that one. Um, Moving forward, into the injuries for this week. Um, if we look at the injury report, we've got Jesse Bates and T Higgins are out. T got hurt injured. It was like late game last week, or maybe it was around halftime. I can't really remember. So expect to see more Mike Thomas, more Auden Tate, which we were kind of seeing because I believe T was he hurt in the Bears game? Was it?
I think he had to get an IV. I think he was dehydrated.
Okay, did he play at all in the Pittsburgh game, or was he hurt in the Pittsburgh game too?
He was out for the Pittsburgh game.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Um,
I was confused. I don't know why I was confused.
we
So,
saw some sets with a different variety of wide receivers. I think we saw a little bit. He didn't get a reception, but we saw Trent Irwin,
okay,
and we saw Auden Tate and Mike Thomas were the main two that they were using to
okay,
compensate for T.
yeah. So that's what I thought. I don't know why I was confused by that, but and Jesse's hurt, which is gonna suck for secondary. But given it's the Jaguars, I think this will be actually good, for the guys that don't get a lot of reps right now. Because when an extensive injury comes across, we're gonna need them. Or for some reason, who knows? Like, not saying this happened. Jesse gets burnt a ton in a game in coverage or something. You still have an opportunity for guys to come in and step up. So I think that's huge, especially for T getting hurt, which really sucks, especially for fantasy people because people love T Higgins in fantasy. Seeing Auden Tate get more reps is awesome. Mike Thomas, I don't really care about Mike Thomas too much. No cap to Mike, but I mean, it's just obvious that this receiving core isn't really changed with or without him. Um, Moving forward, we got Chidobe Awuzie and Suafilo doubtful. Suafilo got injured last game, and Jackson Carman came in, fulfilled a great role. what was it, like 19 snaps? Was it 19 snaps without like giving up? Obviously not giving up a sack, but also
Not
like
even a pressure.
not even a
Not even a
pressure.
QB pressure.
Not even pressure. Okay, cool. So that's awesome. And then moving forward, I mean, Uzi kind of hurts too because in coverage he's been solid. Just literally has been proving himself, the whole season so far. Riley Reef was a concern early on. He's good to go tomorrow. Same with Darius Phillips, and then Trey Waynes will be making his debut. I know Josh is excited for that, as we all are. So look to see a lot of Trey Waynes, a lot of Darius Phillips tomorrow, a lot of Jackson Carman, also Isaiah Prince, I believe. Isaiah Prince is going to be moving in a lot for the O line because of the injury to Suafilo. Although Riley Reef is good to go, that was a reason why Prince was in a lot last game. But we could see him more because of the injury to Suafilo. So, now that injuries have been talked through, Josh, I'm gonna see if do you have anything to add with injuries, or is there anything that you had there?
I mean, outside, I think injuries could add a couple different things. I think we were pretty excited about what we saw. There was a couple, who was it, Dante Smith and Isaiah Prince, that we drafted on the offensive side of the ball that were linemen who came in, and Frank Pollock just like apparently they had great training camps. So if they get the opportunity to play, I'd be extremely excited to see them play. I think especially against a team like the Jaguars, it'd be good to come in and like get their confidence up. I feel like I'm gonna be slandering the Jaguars a lot, and I mean they're 0-3, but and I know where they've been as a Bengals fan, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be good to come and like see the rookies play. Um, I think obviously it's super fun that we get to see Trey Waynes come off of injury reserve after being on it for like literally forever. If the dude allows a pass, we need to cut him. At the rate that we're paying him and the amount of games that he's missed is like that's how I feel about it. Where it's like you better act like a quarterback, like a cornerback one. Like you better be absolute clamps the entire game. I don't want to see one completed pass to who I don't know who will be guarding, like DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault. I don't know. He'll be guarding somebody. I don't want to see him uh, complete a pass, and I'm excited that Darius Phillips is back, just because that probably means less of Eli Apple, and less of Eli Apple is a better defense, in my opinion. Obviously Riley Reef, key key piece of our offensive line this year. I mean, that's going to be huge until we can get another offensive tackle in there. And I think our future piece at offensive tackle is Hakeem Adeniji. That is going to be a conversation for later. But I think Riley Reef is a big piece of our offensive line this year. Key Higgins, that sucks. Like straight up. Like that just hurts. But we also have Auden Tate, uh, which doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to have Auden Tate in your wide receiver core. So hopefully Zach Taylor wants to incorporate more Auden Tate into the game plan. I also think that T being out um, gives room for CJ Uzama to make a bigger impact on the game, which is something that I'd love to see. I think CJ is actually a pretty good tight end, and I just really like him as a person. So really excited to see that. And on the other side of things, Josh Lambo is out for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Roy Robertson Harris is out. Um, they had some linemen who had their first full practice today, and it's looking like they're going to play. But they're coming straight off of an injury, and the Jags' offensive line wasn't good to begin with. So look for that to be making a difference because our defensive line is going insane this year against good offensive lines. And so, I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the game. Injuries are terrifying. Just the amount of, and kind of like you were talking about, Shouse, like Chidobe being gone hurts really bad. I cannot imagine, like, if he doesn't play tomorrow and Laviska Shenault is being guarded by Darius Phillips instead of Chidobe Awuzie, like he should be, and Mike Hilton is stuck guarding whoever they have in the slot. Who is it? Marvin Jones now? Is it Marvin Jones Jr.? Or he might even be their one, and DJ Chark might be
He's
in the
their
slot, or
one. He's
Laviska
their
might be.
one. Marvin's their
Yeah,
one.
I mean, it's But yeah, I'm hoping that we get to see Chidobe Awuzie being the cornerback 2 because he has been playing crazy this season, guarding wide receiver 1. So um, I'd love to see this defense at full strength because they've been going crazy at half strength. So yeah, we'll see.
Alrighty. And that's all good and gravy. Defense is looking solid. Something I wanted to pull up actually that I had set aside here. If you look at the Jags stats, where's Trevor Lawrence? He's been sacked 5 times this season. The Bengals have 10 sacks going into this game. I expect the defensive line to be a huge factor in this game. If you go to the Bengals stats, in the defensive side here, we've got 3 sacks to B.J. Hill, 2.5 for Hendrickson, 1 for Sample, 1 for DJ Reader, 1.5 for Sam Hubbard, 1 for Larry Ogunjobi. This D line has really kind of been handcrafted and put together very well. And I feel like it's just like there's this mix of players that are homegrown with Sam Hubbard. Trey Hendrickson is, if you didn't see his press conference, he's freaking sporting the Reds New Era player cap, and the first thing was, so they asked him, they said, "You're wearing the Reds hat, what's up with that?" And he goes, "They're balling right now, and I love Cincinnati, so I mean, gotta rep them." And I was like, see, that is the type of thing that's gonna win you over as a player. First off, um, second off, like, just the energy and the vibe you hear from these players, like, you can tell they want to be here. And there's like that saying that if you don't want it, then win it for the guy that's next to you, or something along those lines. I probably butchered it, but I think they display that very well. Their energy is so good. Their vibes are great. Like, this is a team unlike what we've seen. And I feel like, Josh, I don't know if you feel about this, but I really feel like it's the same thing with the Reds, not to tail off into baseball, but we're starting to see a very like fun and cool culture changing in Cincinnati, and I really enjoy that. So back to what I was saying with the D line, I really do think that they're going to play a huge factor in this game, especially since guys like B.J. Hill and Larry Ogunjobi, guys who kind of fell under the radar, and are probably, I would say, going over the expectations that they were set. Um, Obviously B.J. Hill, because he leads the team in sacks. It's pretty crazy. You like to see it. Moving on into the offensive side, I expect to have a huge offensive game tomorrow night. Um, Mixon statistically against the Jags succeeds. I don't know how, but if you look up Joe's stats against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the past years, he eats. He just eats, and it's awesome. So I think Joe will have a pretty good game. Um, Start Jamar Chase tomorrow night. I really think he's gonna shine. Like Josh said earlier, C.J. Henderson's gone, so Jamar Chase, I mean, got to be one of the faster guys out there. You
He's
also,
literally going to be being guarded by a Walmart employee. So
oh well, there you go.
no, if I don't even know who their cornerback 1 is. So like, no offense to whoever it is, but like, Jamar's going to eat tomorrow.
And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. Hopefully, we get Auden Tate the ball a little bit too. I think that'll be exciting. Look for Tyler Boyd to have a pretty decent game too, because T will be out, and Tyler will kind of fall into that role that T probably plays. Um, but also, I think it's kind of funny because it's like, yes, T Higgins is out, and then it's like, well, crap. Now we got to focus more on Tyler Boyd. So it's like, that's the thing that I think they're trying to build here in the offense. It's working pretty well. Just a couple interchangeable parts I think they need to work on, which we'll see as it goes. Um, Something to point out: Jamar Chase is tied for second in receiving touchdowns as a rookie. The only people that are tied with him, one guy ahead of him is Cooper Kupp, which makes sense because him and Stafford are absolutely disgusting. Personally, I'm a huge fan of what Matthew Stafford's been able to do in LA. They have my vote for NC or NFC champ. I hope they make it. I hope they make a run. I saw a picture today that was like Sean McVay just like grinning from ear to ear, like looking at Matthew Stafford, and it was really funny. Also, whenever I think of Sean McVay, I think of the spicy chicken noodle soup chunky commercial where he's like riding around the go kart. He goes, "French fries, come on, man!" It's just it's funny. Um, the only guys that are tied with Jamar Adam Thielen, Gronk, and Mike Williams. So, if you want to take a look at that, these are veteran guys, and Jamar's fitting right in with vets. His receiving yards on the season, I just had it. 5 seconds. 220. I thought it was 224. It's 220. So it's pretty dang good. He had 100 in his first game. Since then, he's kind of been off and on. But I mean, I think they've really started to build up the passing game. It's awesome to see Jamar really shining. Could be rookie of the year, which would be awesome. Also, he broke a record, another record already, and it's most. Okay, I saw it on Instagram. It was most 30-yard or more receptions for touchdowns in first 3 games as a rookie in the Super Bowl era, or it's something like that. Whatever it is, it's pretty freaking awesome.
Some weird ESPN stat that
Well, still, I think it's awesome, and it just shows that this offense is really eclipsing. Um, you also got Joe Mixon second in rushing yards in the NFL right now. King Henry's first. I mean, that guy. I told someone today. I said, I hope Derrick Henry is the all-time leading rusher when he puts his cleats up because I love Derrick Henry, and the reason why I do it, he saved my fantasy season like 2 years ago, which is not the idea, but it's just something about like the way he plays. I don't know. I don't have an issue with him, so I would love if he actually made it that. So it's Derrick Henry, uh, Mixon, Chubb, Lamar Jackson, and I don't know who's fifth. I can't remember, but I Mixon's in good company. He's like 60 yards short of what Derrick Henry is, and I mean I don't want to hype us up too early, but I think there's a lot of potential in this team so far, and it's really exciting. It's really good to
David
see.
Montgomery's fifth.
David Montgomery. There we go, Cincinnati boy. So we love to see that. Um, so we kind of already dove into the defensive stats a little bit. So I say we're gonna dive into this next thing that we kind of got going on, and it's so with the injuries going on, Joshy, we're gonna pick an offensive and a defensive player that we think's gonna step up in a big role tomorrow night. So go ahead and give just I mean, you can do the offensive and defensive player. I probably won't pick one, but we can like kind of talk about what you think happened.
Well, I have a couple different players that I think are, especially on the defensive side of the ball. First off, with our defense, I just want to say they've been playing breaking lights out. I talked about it a couple days ago when we did the review after the Steelers win. Um, I have some stats of the Bengals defense. How freaking gorgeously they've been playing football this season. The Bengals in 2021, teams against them are 21 to 50 on third down, which is very nice. Anytime that you're holding a team below 50% on third down, that's a good sign because that means you're getting off the field. Very nice job, Bengals. They've sacked quarterbacks 10 times. To put that up into perspective, Joe Burrow's been sacked 10 times, and people say that's a lot. So if you think Joe Burrow's been sacked a lot, you probably think the Bengals are doing a lot of sacking. Um, they've only allowed 6 touchdowns, which is it's fantastic at this point in the year. You want to keep around right around that 20 mark, and they're keeping teams below that in the general consensus of things, and that means that they're also probably doing pretty well in the red zone. I didn't actually look up what their red zone percentages were, but I know that they're good because they're forcing field goals a lot. I mean, it's a bend don't break defense. They're killing it. Um, the opponent's average time of possession, this is a huge stat, is 33:57. So they're averaging more than half the game, and they've only allowed 6 touchdowns on defense, with the opponent having the ball a ton. Exactly what I mean by bend don't break on defense, and so that also puts a lot more pressure on our offense. So I'm going to go ahead and get into some defensive players that we should focus on. Um, with Jesse Bates being out, I think a huge person that's going to step up into position is going to be Von Bell. I think a big part of Jesse's game is him being such a sure tackler, um, where Von Bell is a very good tackler as well. And I think Von Bell also has I love the way Von Bell tackles people. He tackles people kind of with like a punching motion where he's got a great idea of like he's gonna get the ball out of your hands. Like it'll come out every once in a while, but he doesn't sacrifice the tackle to get the ball out. He just tries to get the ball, and if he doesn't, he's still gonna get the tackle, and I love it. So I think that part of Jesse's game can be emulated through it in the coverage. We're gonna have Brandon Wilson, which is gonna be an interesting starter. I think he's gonna be a guy, not necessarily a guy that I expect to step up. Well, I do. I expect him to step up because I hope he will. Um, but a guy that is gonna need to because he's gonna be playing tomorrow night. And it will only believe I believe yeah it will it will be his third career start in 4 years in the NFL. This being his fourth in his other in games that he's played. Brandon Wilson, the quarterbacks going against him have thrown 9 of 15. That's 60% completion percentage, 198 yards, no touchdowns, which is good. Kind of fits in with the bend don't break idea again. He has 48 combined tackles, which is great because that also means that we have he's only missed 3 tackles in his career. So that combined with the 48 tackles, that is a pretty good amount of tackles saying like, hey, I haven't missed a lot of tackles. And all 3 of those tackles came in 2019. So he had 13 combined tackles last season, didn't miss any, which is good. He's a pretty good open field tackler. Um, let's see here. In the average QBR he's allowed was 104.6. That's all right. I mean, we're gonna need him to step up into a big role. And while I think that he's competent, I think that he's competent enough to be able to be a piece, um, especially when Trey Waynes is going to be the cornerback that is underneath him. That will be really helpful to him playing games because what in 2019 the best cornerback he had underneath him was who? Like WJ3, I think. I think in 2019 who was the best cornerback on our team?
William Jackson.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, I mean Trey Waynes being there is going to be great help. So you love to see that. On the offensive side of the ball, I think that the guy that needs to step up the most is probably going to be Joe Burrow. I mean, let's be honest. His statistics for this season so far have been slightly underwhelming. I know that he last year was a guy who you could count on a couple things. He was going to throw touchdowns, and he was going to throw for a lot of yards. We've seen him kind of. There's been some interceptions that are definitely not his fault. Some of them are, some of them aren't. There's been some interceptions that it's like kind of need to take care of the football a little bit better. I think Joe might be having just a little bit of a sophomore slump. He'll be fine. He's also coming off of an ACL and like everything tear, so. But I think it's important that he comes out tomorrow. More than him, I think it's important that Zach Taylor comes out tomorrow and decides, hey, I want to attack the weak secondary of the Jacksonville Jaguars and really exploit that because my quarterback is Joe Burrow and my quarterback can throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and no interceptions against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not saying that he will, but like that is what Joe Burrow is capable of. That's what Joe Burrow knows he's capable of, and I think it's criminal that Zach Taylor, uh, just thinks it's okay to throw 5 yards out the whole entire game with Joe Burrow. So I want to see Joe Burrow step up. Um, I'd love to see him make a couple big throws down the field and make them. Um, I think that would be huge. So my two players are Von Bell on the defensive side and Joe Burrow on the offensive side. I think those are our guys that we need. We're gonna need them.
All right, so I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. To go back on the Brandon Wilson thought, I think that's gonna be like a kind of like a hand in hand with Von Bell a little bit because if Brandon Wilson gets a lot of opportunities, I think it'll be big for him to step up and kind of fall into more of a defensive role because right now he's like a kick return specialist, you know. On that note, though, you see a pick by him, watch out because he could take it. He could. Um,
Is he gone?
Cause I'm gonna be honest. Now that we're like thinking about it, I think there could be a couple takeaways that result in some big, return yardage, potentially some scores. Maybe we'll see. To go on your thought about Joe Burrow, I do kind of see where you're going with that. If you look side by side, Trevor Lawrence has thrown for more yards than him. Not more touchdowns. Lawrence has more picks, but he has thrown for more yards.
And worst passer rating.
Yeah. So Joe does need to step up. Um, Something I mentioned last episode was the loss of Giovanni Bernard. And here's why a guy like him is big in an offense. If you look at the Bengals offense since Giovanni Bernard has been in it, how many times did we see Andy Dalton dump off passes to him or they set up screens where Bernard would work in open field? Look what Giovanni Bernard did last week against the Rams. Like he was flipping field position in times. Like there was a play when Aaron Donald smacked the ball out of Tom Brady's hand and Giovanni Bernard just caught it out of the air and ran it for 30 yards. Like I'm not saying that we need Giovanni Bernard back. It sucks that we lost him, but there is still sort of this running back 2, running back 3 sort of scenario that has not been solved yet. And we don't really have a receiving running back type style yet. Granted, you could use Joe Mixon for that. Joe Mixon's actually a pretty darn good receiving back. Check his Oklahoma highlights. I know about it. However, you kind of have lost a good part of your offense that really leads you to having a 300-yard like offensive game, passing wise. Um, a big example, if you want to like know more about this, look at the game last year when we played the Titans. How many times did Joe Burrow throw to Bernard? Look at the game when we beat the Steelers on Monday night or whenever was it Monday night? I think it was Monday night last year. Bernard was a huge factor, and someone who I think is going to step into that role is Chris Evans. Chris Evans was pretty underrated coming into the draft, I'd say. Coming out of Michigan, he didn't have a whole lot of reps, whole lot of opportunities. Um, Definitely one of those guys that's like basically based off of like the potential and maybe like some of his like attributes, but I think he'll fall into that role. It's kind of ironic he's got number 25. But we saw a couple glimpses of his receiving capabilities in the Steelers game. I would say look for that. Back with just kind of more things with Joe. Decision making's been a little meh. It's gotten better. Also, I think throwing picks is obvious. It sucks, right? But I think in order to get the lid off, in order to have confidence, in order to get better, you got to take risks, and so I think that's huge there. Um,
I'll say I like the way he's shaking them off. I think he's done a really, really good job of just like he has a veteran's mindset and a very short-term memory. I mean, like he threw that first pick and I was like, "Oh my gosh, please just like let's not revert into back back into what we saw in Chicago when we were playing the Steelers." And then he just threw for 3 touchdowns. Like it was absolutely nothing, um, which was huge. That is huge for a quarterback's confidence. The yards will come. The yards will come um, when Zach Taylor realizes that Chris Evans is a good receiving back. The yards will come. You see Ben Roethlisberger. What did he do? Throw the ball to Najee like 19 times or something stupid like that. Like
I think it
Najee
was
had like
20.
13. Yeah, he literally had Najee had like 13 receptions, which was fantastic for my fantasy football team. But like 13 receptions for 100 yards. He was their leading receiver, and Big Ben threw for 300 yards. And I think he had like I think 85% of his passes had like a less than 5 air yards under them. So like Joe is airing it out right now. They're not all hitting, but in order to get back to those 300 yards games, you kind of need to be looking for the checkdowns, which is I think something that Zach Taylor isn't keen on adding into the playbook quite yet.
Yeah, so I am going to agree with that, but also I think it's just like you kind of got to find a balance too. I think Auden Tate's going to play a big role tomorrow night too. Hopefully, I would hope. I went and watched the highlights again, and Auden Tate did have another reception. So what we were talking about was their 2 minute drill. At halftime, they scored and then got the ball back again and took a shot at midfield, and Auden Tate caught that ball, but then they got called back on a hold. Well, Auden Tate actually did catch another pass, I believe, in the second half. And so something you get with Auden Tate is he's got height, he's got hands. Watch a couple of his crazy catches in the past couple of years, and he's really like he's the throw a deep ball up, see if you can get someone to catch it. He's that guy. He's your Hail Mary guy. I mean, that's not necessarily something you absolutely necessarily need, but if you're looking for someone who can just pull the ball down, it's definitely him. I think you should look forward to having him have more of an impact in this because I think he's proved it. So I mean, we'll see. Um, Moving forward off of that, um, this is matchup one of Burrow versus Lawrence in the NFL. We saw the national. It was a national championship game, right? When Clemson lost to LSU, and Lawrence actually looked decent in that game in the first half, and then I think he threw 2 picks. So he kind of looked rough. He kind of looked like the NFL version of himself. And so I think this future. Now this is gonna be a crazy thought. I'm gonna go ahead and start this. The ultimate comparison of Trevor Lawrence right now is Peyton Manning. The reason that is because if you look at Peyton Manning's rookie stats and you look at Trevor Lawrence's rookie stats right now, they're very similar. Peyton Manning went 3-13, and it's like the rookie record for picks in a season. Lawrence is on pace for that record, as well as being 0-3. It's looking likely like he's gonna like be a very similar Peyton Manning type of guy. Will he go 13-3 next year? Will he go 13-3 next year? I don't know, but who knows? Now my Joe Burrow uh comparison's gonna be Tom Brady. Will it be Tom Brady? Probably not. Probably not exactly the same. But the reason I'm saying that is because Peyton Manning and Tom Brady had all those battles over the years. Either like the winner of them were going to the AFC champion. Well, if they played each other in the AFC Championship game, they'd go to the Super Bowl, or at some point in this season in the playoffs, they were knocking each other out, right? And so I think that this has the opportunity to be one of those things. My hot take though is I don't think Trevor Lawrence would do it with the. I don't think that the team will get to that level. Um, I could talk about that for a while, but I don't think it's. I think there's a lot of reasons why. Um, and so I personally don't think that he will stick with the Jags very long. Um, so we'll see where that goes. I'm gonna pull for Burrow in this one. Obviously, he's got the year of experience. His team's better. Defensively, they're better. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I know that Josh isn't very sold on Trevor Lawrence. He doesn't have to go over that, but you can go over things that I just said because you seem to have been having some formulated opinion over it. So
I am not. I don't hate the comparison of Joe Burrow to Tom Brady, and I don't hate the comparison of Trevor Lawrence to Peyton Manning. I just dislike that they're both within the first 3 years of their NFL career, and that we want to compare them to Hall of Famers. Like that's just scary, and it's a lot of pressure to put on a guy who's what Trevor Lawrence is literally like 20, 21. Yeah, he's our age, and so like
he's younger than Joe Burrow.
yeah, he's younger than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's like what, 24, 23, 25, something like that. Some one of those ages. But like they're young. They're young kids. So it's like, dang, this is going to be Peyton Manning versus I don't know. And yeah, I have never been very high on Trevor Lawrence. I think he is a very good quarterback prospect. Is he the best prospect we've seen in years? No. The best prospect we've seen in years was Joe Burrow. And I don't think that's that much of a hot take. I know a lot of people do think that's a hot take. Um, But I was honestly not all that surprised. People were like, "Oh yeah, Trevor Lawrence is going to come into the league and he's going to tear it up. He's going to the Jags are going to go what like 4-13 this year. The Jags are going to go 4-13 and they're going to come back and they're going to be picking sixth." And I was like dude, like no, they're probably still like a 1 or 2 win team max. I don't think. First of all, Trevor Lawrence, his weapons are eh, an aging Marvin Jones Jr., DJ Chark, who's pretty good. He's pretty good. I'll give him that.
Underwhelmed in his career so far, if you ask me.
Exactly. He's underwhelmed, but he's pretty good. I'll give him that. Laviska Shenault, who we hope is good. We hope he's a second-round wide receiver. The Bengals were probably looking at taking him, but they took T. Higgins instead. It's worked out great, but they hope he's good. Their offensive line is meh. Their defense is in shambles compared to where it used to be. I mean, they traded out Jalen Ramsey for C.J. Henderson,
And they
and
just
then got
traded
rid
him
of
for a
C.J.
tight
Henderson
end. For a tight end.
for a tight end. Yeah,
Why?
I mean, this is a team that earlier on this season signed Tim Tebow at tight end. Hear me, people. They signed a minor league baseball player, because that's what this boils down to. They signed a minor league baseball player to play tight end. You know what Tim Tebow played in college, guys? You know what Tim Tebow played in college? He played quarterback. And like 7 years ago, people were like, oh yeah, maybe Tim Tebow could play tight end. Maybe he's a really tall, big wide receiver. Tim Tebow is a newscaster and a Christian man. I love Tim Tebow, but like that's my thing with Trevor Lawrence. Anyway, this rivalry, I agree with you. I don't think Trevor Lawrence stays in Jacksonville. I don't think he should. I feel like I sound just like one of those people who's like, oh, Joe Burrow shouldn't stay in Cincinnati and yada yada yada. Yada. I honestly think Trevor Lawrence could probably end up somewhere like New Orleans. I hope he ends up somewhere like New Orleans. Um, that would be beautiful. Um, just thinking about it makes me excited. If you guys don't know, I also really like the Saints. Um, it's just how I am. Yeah, I hold these L's all the time. Two heartbreak franchises um, are my fan bases. And anyway, but I think that Trevor Lawrence will send up somewhere else. I do see that it would be a pretty good rivalry because I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to be bad. Um, I just think that people's expectations for him is greatest quarterback of all time, and I think that their expectations of him need to be like top 30 quarterbacks of all time. What? A meme? Oh goodness.
It
But
was it
anyway.
was a meme and it said Tim Tebow been lifting more than Bibles.
Oh my gosh. Um yeah, so I think it could be an interesting thing. It's very interesting right now because it does I don't know. Who's like two number one picks that went at it earlier on in their career? I mean like two top 10, 15 picks that go at it consistently. Now, I know Trevor and Joe aren't in the same division, but Justin and Justin and Herbie, yeah, no, Justin and Patrick go at it, and I mean that's gonna be entertaining. It was entertaining when they played this earlier this year.
I don't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but
No, I'm pretty much done. So
I gotta pull this video up. I'm gonna show it on the podcast because it is so funny. Here it is.
Watch out for Justin Herbert next year. I'll see it when I believe it. Yeah.
All right, so that was all the videos. It was a video. I think you're muted, but oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It was a video, and it's Mahomes walking. Mahomes is walking on a golf course, and this guy goes, "Watch out for Justin Herbert next year," and he goes, I'll see it when I believe it. First off, that's not how the saying goes. Second off, I don't know what the beef with Herbert is, but I guess he's just been hearing that like crazy. So, I mean, who cares? Chiefs won or Chiefs lost. Chiefs won. Chargers won, rightfully so. Go Chargers. Bolt up. One of my buddies is a good Chargers fan, so there we go. Um, Continuing on after this talk, we're gonna tread into some lighter waters. Bengals are sporting for the first time. Okay, so the Bengals are sporting for the first time their orange jerseys since the new release of the jerseys. And we got a nice little photo of Tyler Boyd wearing them for the first time. It's orange on white. Um, the pants look really good. I think they're wearing orange socks too. So, it looks pretty darn good if you ask me. I don't know if I think Josh looked like he was potentially pulling up the pictures of them, and he's probably gonna share his screen with me. Um, my question is, are the orange jerseys a W or an L? I am a big fan of them. I think they look good for two reasons. One, it pays homage to the old orange style, and also, I don't know if anyone's really paid attention, but the Bengals don't accept a hard color of orange. They tend to drift away from like this darker orange to like this like highlighter like styled orange, and it doesn't make any sense because when has their orange been a highlighter color? So, I like that they've kind of accepted like this like it's like a little I can't explain it. Would you say it's like similar to the Texas Longhorns orange? Like the sunburnt almost, or is it a little lighter than that?
It's like
There's the jersey
I
right
don't know. It's orange that just like doesn't take itself super seriously,
there. I
if
like
that
it.
makes
I think it
sense.
looks good.
I think it
Like,
looks great. It's very it's
yeah.
sleek. It's sleek. It's calm. It's not like really harsh. I think that was a lot of people's problems. I love the freaking pants. The pants are so cool. Um, just all of the pants this year have been really cool. I like the stripes a lot better than the old stripes. I think these stripes were pretty harsh. You know, we don't you don't dislike them, but I think these stripes are pretty nice, especially in the white jerseys. Beautiful. Love the white jerseys. They really went for the color rush look because the people loved the color rush. So you can kind of see it in Chelsea's background. If you look up there, is a new Joe Burrow jersey. Um, but I like these orange jerseys. They do pay homage to the old orange jerseys, um, which really was like a fan favorite. Actually, it's just a lot of people outside of Cincinnati hated the orange jerseys. But it's like a burnt Texas orange. Um, so I think they're fine. I have no issues with them. And I think out of all of the new uniforms, obviously the white's my favorite, but I think the orange ones were probably my least favorite. But they're also the ones that we really haven't seen on the field. So, um, I think we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I definitely don't dislike them, but out of all the new ones, they were my least favorite.
Yeah, I think the black on black looks really cool. Also, just the white on white looks good. Also, I was always a big fan growing up of when they wore the orange tops and the black pants. I always thought those looked pretty hot. So, moving forward after that, we got a different topic. We kind of spoke on it last week, but we're gonna kind of make this topic. I don't want to say quick, but we don't have to like go too far down on it. It is Zach Taylor is a legit head coach. So I'm gonna do like a little 2 minute thing of myself. What I'm gonna say. It's easy to say that he doesn't need to be a head coach. I see in the Bengals Instagram comment section all the time. Fire Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor's not a good head coach. Zach Taylor's this. Zach Taylor's that. I want everyone to take a step back and think for a second. What coach in the NFL ring of head coaches is going to handle a team that has just been dropped by Marvin Lewis because Marvin Lewis was fired and is going to turn around a team faster? It's not possible. Now, granted, I will tell you this. I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but the thing is, if Zach Taylor could have spent all this money and made an insane team, he probably would have done it. But one, you can't do it because Cincinnati's a small market. Two, football is not a sport where you can just buy, and make a fantastic contending team. Am I vouching for Zach Taylor? Maybe a little bit. But my point is, you have to understand that nothing is going to be night and day. That's just not how it works. If you're going to hassle him for things that make sense, right? Like play calling, you can hassle him for that. That's fair because he makes some interesting play calling decisions. I will give you that one. But screaming and yelling because he's not signing players, like people were complaining when they let William Jackson go, and I was like, dude, he's freaking garbage. Sure, he was our best corner or whatever, but is he worth 3 years, 44 mil? No, he's not. We signed a Wouzier and Mike Hilton, who probably are stacked up against them, aren't better than him, but it's two guys who are above average at the cornerback position and are playing pretty spirited football right now, and I'm here for it, right? Um, and so that's how I feel about that. People also didn't like the Trey Hendrickson contract, which I can honestly kind of understand that because it did seem like we were kind of pulling it. Hold on, I know what you're gonna say, but the
Better
reason
not speak bad upon Trey Hendrickson.
I'm not going to, but my point is it was interesting that that was their first big signing when everyone knew they needed an offensive line. That's all I'm saying there. Josh, I'll let you speak on Zach Taylor in a second. What is going on with my Streamlabs? Wait, did Streamlabs freeze? Oh no, we're chilling. Sorry, we're chilling. I was confused for a second, but um, I think that for what he was handed, there could be a lot more issues than what we've actually seen so far. So, um, well, time will tell. He got a huge win in Pittsburgh Sunday, and I think this will feed into it even more. It's a primetime game. And as you know, Zach Taylor, let me think. Prime time. They beat the Steelers in prime time last year. Is that the only other primetime game they've had with him? Is there any more? 2019. Do we look? Let's check it out. I'll check
Not
real
sure.
quick.
He's either 1-0 or 1-1. So
I'm gonna
he
check
doesn't
real
have
quick.
many.
Here, you go ahead and start going, and I'll.
So my opinion on Zach Taylor changes uh, ever so slightly every week. It's he's an interesting character. And sometimes I'm unsure how I feel about him. Uh, Not because of the decisions that he's made in like free agency, because I think those are mostly the organization, and I think that if you're a person who is logical, you would be frustrated with Mike Brown and not Zach Taylor about the signings that they made. I love Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is literally one of my favorite football players. So when we signed him, I was super pumped. I think most people were like, why didn't we use that money to sign Joe Tooney? It makes sense. And now he's playing for the Chiefs. Yeah, so in prime time under Zach Taylor, the Bengals are 1-2. So hopefully we can move that record to even with a win tonight, technically. Um, and yeah, I do think it depends on this year. We'll see. I think is Zach Taylor a legitimate head coach? I don't know. I think he needs to lean more on his offensive coordinator for play calling. If he is able to delegate that better, then I'd trust him a little bit more as a head coach. But I love the defense that he's allowed Lou Anarumo to build. So, um, I don't know. Maybe, I guess. like a tentative yes, a tentative no. I don't know. I mean, like most teams would have fired him by now. Like, let's be real here. Most teams he'd be fired. I don't think that's not safe to say. Think you go like, I think you win what, like 3 games through 2 years. You're gone. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think he's a legit head coach. I like the direction they're going. So we'll give him the benefit. We'll say yeah, I guess. Um, we can move on to whatever you have next. I think it's score prediction.
Yeah, I'm gonna push that back actually, and so I am going to start our over under segment, which I was talking about before, and I have the one set up for you. I'm gonna choose one, and then you're gonna choose whatever if you agree with me or not. All right, so I got four. Joe Burrow, over or under 300 yards.
Over. I'm putting over.
Okay,
I
and if
smashed the over.
if it's like this seems pretty accurate, like right on, just say over. Don't like if it's like, oh, that sounds like they'd be right at that number, then just say over. Fine. Um,
Over.
Mixin, 100 yards, over, under.
Over.
I'm gonna say over for both of those two.
Yeah.
Um, Jamar Chase, over, under, 2 touchdowns. I think he's
Uh,
got three tomorrow. I'm gonna be
I
honest.
think
I
it's
think he's
I
got
think it's
three.
I think it's over because there's no T.
Mhm. I
So
like that. All
yeah,
right,
I
and
think it's
then to
over.
round it off, I got defense. Over sacks, over 5 sacks, or under 5 sacks.
Under. I think they have 4.
Okay, that's pretty fair. I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah.
All right, so we're coming
And I
to a
think
close on the podcast.
you ready? You want to hear? You ready for this one, Shells?
Go ahead.
Trey Hendrickson over under 2 sacks.
I think he's right at 2.
So you smash the over.
You think he's gonna have more?
I think he could have. I think he'll have like 2.5 sacks, and I think BJ Hill's gonna have one, and probably Sam Hubbard's gonna have a half a sack.
Guess time will
That's
tell. Time
my
will tell.
opinion.
All right. For prediction, I got the Bengals 35-13. I know that might seem like a lot. I think the offense will finally um hit a point of confidence and start smacking some touchdowns, some scores. I also potentially have the defense flipping some field position and starting us in Jaguars territory, leading to some easy scores. Um, Another reason why I have them scoring so much is just because the Jaguars give up a lot of points. They're like what did I say? They were like 28th or something in that category. Yeah, 28th for points against, and I think they gave up like 35 against the Cardinals. We'll see how that works. I don't know. I just think that the Bengals will finally pop this one open, and hopefully they do so. It'll be big for their points again or points for as well, and they'll start hitting higher spreads. One would hope. So that's what I think.
All right. So here's my prediction. I have the Bengals winning 24-16. Um, I think that there are going to be a lot of drives where the Jaguars are going to drive down the field, get stopped in the red zone, and kick a field goal. I think that there's going to be a lot of drives where the defense is going to take the ball away. I think I have Trevor Lawrence throwing 2 interceptions against our defense. Um, I think I think Trey Waynes gets an interception. And let's be real here. I think Von Bell gets an interception. I think that's going to happen. I think they are due for that. So I believe that that's what's going to happen. I have Joe Burrow throwing for like around 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think he has a clean sheet tomorrow. He throws Jamar about 150 yards, a touchdown, and he throws Tyler Boyd probably around 75 yards and another touchdown. And I have Joe Mixon rushing for like 125 yards tomorrow with another touchdown, and Evan McPherson breaking Justin Tucker's field goal kick. He's gonna kick a 75-yarder
Holy cow! In
from
Cincinnati, are you
outside of the
kidding me?
building, and we're gonna go crazy. I love Evan McPherson, so he's kicking a 90-yarder tomorrow. Not actually, but like he'll make a field goal, and the extra points. So I do think that the Bengals are gonna win. So would I be taking the spread? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be taking the spread, would I? Would I? 6? Wait, why can't I do math? 4, 4, 8. I do take the spread, so 7.5. Spread is 7.5, so I do take the spread. I have the Bengals covering the spread. Um, but yeah, I think that the Bengals are going to win tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be an offensively dominant performance quite yet. I don't think Zach Taylor's ready to call that kind of game. Um, but it'll be exciting. I also think that the Bengals are probably going to get up early and then take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit towards the second half. It's kind of what they did against the Steelers, and I think it'll be less close of a game, even though the score's closer. I don't know, but whatever. I think that the Bengals will win.
All right, so you heard it here first. Me and Josh both have the Bengals winning. Mine's a little bit more convincing. That's just me. Um, hopefully it's a good one because this is Joe Burrow's second primetime game. Yeah, wait, is that right? Because he played in
I
the
think.
Cleveland game.
Yep.
He played in. Oh, okay. So they had a primetime game before he got drafted. So yeah, he's 0-1. So he's looking to get his first win, in primetime, which I think he'll do. And hopefully Zach Taylor can get us up to 2-2 in his primetime games, which is another big game for him. Granted, it is Jacksonville, but another thing to win these fans over is Steelers wins and primetime. Something that Marvin Lewis could never do. I feel like consistently at least. Also, Marvin Lewis never went for it on fourth down. I don't know if you ever noticed that. He would never go for it. And he got booed a lot in Cincinnati for that. There's that to look out for. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else, Josh. Do you have anything else to add? Looks like you do.
Little fun fact: the Bengals in their last 8 games in which they wore orange jerseys, guess what their record was?
Are they 8-0?
Not quite. They're 6-2, but they're good. They're
6
really
and 2.
good.
Okay.
I think in their last like 18 games, I think they're like 14-4 in orange jerseys. Like they play really well in orange jerseys. I don't know what it is, but they play really well. So hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. And that also says we should wear orange jerseys in the playoffs when we make it.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Oh yeah.
I think actually, I'm gonna check their schedule. I'm pretty sure they play the Steelers. Okay, it's not prime time. Okay, never mind. Wait, no, that's last year. Hold on. Let me check. Play the Steelers at night. They don't. They play them at 1. But oh shoot, I don't have my phone. The Bengals social media team released their like jersey schedule. So I'm gonna check Insta on the Steelers. Uh yes, week 12. Is it orange? Okay. You're muted by the way. I don't know if you It's okay.
It is orange jerseys.
Orange jerseys for Steelers. Are there any more?
So we have week 17.
Is orange as well?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna find that in a second and I'll pull it over and put it on the screen. The podcast people
Here.
that are watching it on. Or yeah, you
Here.
can do it.
Oh my
Like.
crap. I just searched the image on accident.
I'm about to find it too, so you better hurry. I'm about to beat you. Found it. You're too late. I'm covering it. So that's it. We wear
Oh wait, this
white.
is
We wear
this is the old
white.
one.
We wear white a lot. We're
Yeah.
No, we're wearing orange week 12 still.
Yeah.
So, well, dude, seeing week 18 just blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie. Wait, what is that one again? Oh, it's just week. Okay. So what's interesting is, uh, this dude says too much white. Why aren't we wearing white, black enough? That's. I mean, I get it, but
I'd rather see more orange.
I mean, the orange is the alternate, so they usually don't do that too much. Also, I think the white looks the best, so it's cool. I don't really care. But week 5 is the Packers, I believe. Wait, no, that's the Lions. Isn't? No, it's Packers and Lions. Never mind. Sorry. Um, week 12 is the Steelers at home. We're, week 17. I just kind of peeked my mic there. My bad. Week 17 is home against the Chiefs. I would be willing to bet money that they do orange and black, like black pants, because typically, with how the history goes with Bengals jerseys, they usually do orange and black on like the last home game. Just so you know. So yeah, I don't know if Josh has anything else, but that's about all from me. Josh, I'll let you have some closing comments if you want any.
Yeah. Go Bengals, Who Dey. It's Jags slander week. We're gonna be smoking that Jaguars pack this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. Daddy Joe Burrow is gonna throw for 1,000,000 touchdowns against your favorite team's defense. So,
All right,
yep,
guys,
that's right.
that is all from us today. We'll have a recap of the Jags game. I mean, we might do it after I doubt it. We'll do it after the game tomorrow night because I gotta work early Friday, and then maybe we'll get it out Friday night. We might have to because me and Josh can be gone this weekend. We'll be seeing. We'll try to get some stuff up this weekend as well. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Um, we'll get working on an Instagram too. Uh, we'll get this whole thing going. So, as you're listening to this, we'll probably just stick with YouTube for now, and then we'll venture out to like Spotify or whatever. So, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.